I think some of it is by design. So when you deal with any regulated or a highly, you know, if you look at a large enterprise,
Mm-hmm.
or if you really take down any business and ask a CEO what are your objectives, they would say three things. One would be say increase revenue, second would be decrease
Mm-hmm.
costs, and the third would be to reduce risk. So what organizations
Mm-hmm.
typically the way they design their structure is, the classic lines of defense. So you'll have some business functions who would think that their only job is to increase revenue, or there will be some operations teams
Right.
who think their only job is to decrease costs, and then there will be risk teams and security teams and legal teams who believe that their only role is to reduce risk. The challenge with this kind of an approach is when these teams start believing that their objectives are in isolation. So one thinks increasing revenue is
Hmm.
in isolation. Security team believes my role is to minimize or eliminate any kinds of cyber risk and keep a check on those guys, whereas the dev and the ops teams believe their responsibility is to keep the business running. So I think when you have this kind of a mindset and again culture, it is very difficult to build trust and collaboration between these teams because each of them feel that they can only be successful at the cost of the other. So
Yeah.
I think the way to solve this would be to have a belief that these things are all aligned. One should not
Hmm.
come at the cost of the other. It is possible to increase cost and reduce risk. And again, these things, there are many people who have said this before me as well, that it's also like your ability to reduce risk actually helps you increase revenue. So you many people would have heard the classic car brakes and accelerator thing. The way these
Mm-hmm.
two work in unison, having brakes actually allows you to move farther, faster. So yeah, I think a classic way to the way I like to define, and I picked this quote from Eric Brandwein, who was the deputy CISO of AWS, and who I consider as my mentor, is he feels and he says, which I completely agree with, the objective of any security program is to maximize the business value of security
Mm-hmm.
and at a minimum risk and at a minimum cost. So when security teams start believing that their role is to ultimately maximize business value, not just minimize risk for the sake of minimizing risk, that is when these objectives start converging, and that is when these teams start looking at each other, uh, and start trusting each
As
other with
partners.
yeah, as partners.
As
Yeah.
partners.